Well, good morning. You picked a great Sunday, whether you know it or not. You picked a great Sunday to be here. I mean, with the baptisms and the Lord's Supper, as long as I don't go too long, it really doesn't matter what I say. You know, we already had a good Sunday, so that's a good thing. It's actually kind of great, though, because we're starting a brand new series today. And so if you're new to Mountain Ridge or if you've been in and out over the summer, this is a great Sunday to kind of get back on track or maybe to get plugged in. We're starting a new series, and it's called Life Recovery. And what's behind it, kind of the idea behind it, is unfortunately a little bit of a negative idea. But it's the idea that for pretty much all of us, there's been times at least, and maybe you're in that season right now, or you probably know somebody that is if you're not, where life just doesn't seem like it's all it's supposed to be. You have this idea and this image in your mind of what it would be like and how great it would be and the dreams that you had, and you thought, it's going to be fantastic. But for some reason, it hasn't quite been as fantastic as you hoped it would be or as you planned it would be. It's not that it's bad, maybe, but it's just not as good as you thought it could be. And so that's a struggle. And so most of us, what we try to do is we try to find something to make us happy, something where we can feel happiness. And if you've done this for a little while, you realize pretty quickly, happiness is really hard to get a hold of. It is. It's hard to find happy. And even if you find it, it's really hard to hang on to it. It seems like as hard as it was to find it, it's gone all of a sudden. And so what if, instead of living life kind of just grasping for a moment, hoping that somehow, some way, maybe this month, if everything lines up on one day, that'll be a great day and I can really cling to that. What if you could live your life actually moment by moment, each one full and purposeful and meaningful? And that's what we're going to explore as we go through this whole idea of life recovery. What would it look like to actually recover life? Now, one of the ways we talk about it, or one of the ways people talk about it, you see this all the time. Like if you listen to interviews of famous people or athletes or something like this, they'll throw this term out all the time. Hey, well, tell us about what's going on, and you just won the MVP, and you just signed this new contract, whatever. And say, well, I'm just blessed. Right? They say it all the time. Well, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. And then if you get on social media, you start to see it too. It could be the girl, our Insta story. She puts blessed. I finally got into my dream school and shows a little video of the school. Or maybe it was your Facebook friend that got their dream job and they hashtag blessed, And it could be a guy on Twitter. He got a new car and he hashtag crazy blessed. I mean, we see that and we think about that and we're like, I don't know exactly what they mean, but I think I would like some of the blessed that they keep talking about. That would be good for me too, and so I would love to be blessed. Well, here's the reality. And you may not know this, especially if you're not a church person, if you haven't been around church a whole lot. God desires to bless you. As a matter of fact, he spent a lot of time and energy thinking about how to bless you. It's his design, it's his purpose. He wants you to have this full, blessed, whatever you want to call it, life that you've kind of always wanted, but never quite been able to get a hold of and hang on to. God wants that for you. Jesus actually taught about this quite a bit. And Jesus, when he talked about it, he kind of did it in maybe a surprising way. One of the things he did was he would talk a lot and people would listen. And so one day Jesus kind of goes up halfway up the side of a mountain. And his close followers come with him, and the crowd just kind of listens in. I mean, there wasn't room for them to stand near him. They just kind of had to listen in, and he tells them, hey, look, if you're going to follow me, if you're going to come after me, there's some great things that are going to happen. But there's a couple things you need to know. One of the things that you need to know is if you're going to follow me, your life is going to be different. It is. It's just going to be different than everybody else's. And that's not a bad thing, but it is going to be different. And while it's going to be different, if you're friends with me, if you follow me, if you hang with me, it's also going to be blessed. And then he proceeds to tell how and what that looks like. And so it's this kind of exciting and engaging invitation, but what's really underneath it, and this is something we're going to talk about every week that we're on this topic, is it really comes down to you and me wanting the right wants. It's when we want the right things that we find that we're blessed. It's actually a choice, and I know it sounds crazy, but hang in there with me. It sounds crazy that you get to choose to be blessed by God or not. God's not arbitrarily just saying, I'm going to throw some good stuff at them. I'm going to throw some shade at them. I'm going to help them. I'm going to hurt them. He's not doing that. He wants to bless you, and it's actually your choice whether he does or not. And so as Jesus is sharing this, some of you have heard of this, it's called the Sermon on the Mount, and it's probably the most famous talk that any person has ever given, because here we are 2,000 years later and people are talking about it still all the time. And in this Sermon on the Mount, this incredible and impressive speech or sermon or whatever you want to call it, You would think, man, it was probably like in a palace, right? Or in a cathedral or some huge auditorium or, someplace where everybody could gather. But it was actually on the side of a mountain with a few close friends. And Jesus challenged them. He said, I want to tell you these 8 things. And if you're a church person, you've heard of this, these 8 beatitudes. That if you make these choices, my Father in heaven is going to bless your life. And as he unpacks these choices, there's a couple things that stand out right away. The first is, most of them don't sound right. He describes it and he says, if you're this, you'll be blessed. And most people walk away going, no, I don't think it works that way. That doesn't sound right. That's not what I've always been told. And the other thing you find is that these things, while they're individual, while they're kind of on their own, at the same time, they kind of start stacking together. It's like, yes, they work by themselves, but they work on a whole nother level when you put them together. And so Jesus explores these. And if you've got a Bible or if you're on our app following along, we're going to be in Matthew chapter 5. I'd encourage you to kind of read along with me. Don't just take my word for it, but what does the Bible actually say about it? And as Jesus begins to unfold and share these things, you can almost see the faces of the people listening, because I guarantee you they were confused. And I guarantee you that some of them, it's Jesus, so it's like I'm not going to interrupt him, right? But it's like, I don't think that's right. That's not the way it's been in my life. And you're saying that I can choose that? And if I choose that, God's going to bless me? I'm sure there were hundreds of questions running around in people's heads as he's going through this. So let's look at them together. Matthew chapter 5, verse 1. And we'll read them all. We're only going to deal with one today, but we'll look at them all. It says this, now when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside and sat down, and his disciples came to him, and he began to teach them. This was almost kind of an insider message. This wasn't for everybody. This was for the people that really wanted to know me and follow me and really wanted to be connected to God. That's who this is for. And he says this. He said, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. And blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So sign me up, right? I don't know about you, and let's just kind of cards on the table. When I hear this, I'm kind of thinking, well, if that's blessed, I'm going to pass on the blessed, right? I don't want to be poor and mourning and humble and hungry and merciful. And yeah, I'm pure in heart, but I'm always a peacemaker and people are persecuting me for it. If that's blessed, we'll let somebody else be blessed, right? I don't need that. Before we dive into it, I think it is interesting what he didn't say was blessed. Because all of my go-tos, he didn't mention. Blessed are the wealthy, for they will. Blessed are those who have a great house. Blessed are those who are good looking. Blessed are those who have the latest toys. Blessed are those who are Americans. Blessed are those who are free. Blessed are the sexy. Blessed are the ones that owe the cool stuff. He didn't say any of that. As a matter of fact, you could almost intuit the opposite. Since he didn't say any of those things aren't necessarily blessings. At least not blessings from God. And Jesus gives us this list that, like I said, makes us kind of go, Jesus, I'm with you. I love you. I'm going to follow you. That doesn't sound like the life I'm looking for, though. That's for other people. That's for saints and martyrs and people that are really into this whole Jesus thing. I'm not sure I want that. And he comes back and he says, but you can choose to be blessed by God. You can choose to recover life if you want it. And so either Jesus completely missed it, right? Like he got this one wrong, okay? Or there's something to this that is easy to miss if you just skim by it. That's easy to miss if you just go by your initial reaction. Because even the first one, he said, blessed are the poor in spirit. And again, my first thought is, well, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be, I've never really thought of anything positive being attached to poor. That doesn't sound good. And I think about our church. You should be proud of your church, actually. Our church, through Global Impact and through some of our community ministries, we work hard and put serious cash into helping people that are in poverty and trying to help them not only get over their physical needs, but point them to Jesus at the same time. We try to get people out of poverty. And Jesus is saying we should be poor. So what is he talking about? Is he talking about poor in wallet? No. He said, blessed are the poor in spirit. So don't let that poor throw you off, because he's talking about something else than how much money you have. He says, blessed are the poor in spirit. And when Jesus talks about blessed, this is the other thing, we got to get this straight. When Jesus talks about blessed, we talked about all the things he didn't mean. What exactly does he mean? When he says blessed are the poor in spirit, what is he saying about those people that are poor in spirit? And it's simply this. When Jesus says blessed, it's bigger than being happy. I mean, happy's good. This is bigger than happy. This is kind of along the lines of joy. This is the person that you kind of wish you had their life. But before you go too far, it's not because of the house they live in. It's not because of the car they drive. It's not because of the job they have. It's the way they do life. Man, they seem like they really love people. And it seems like other people really love them. And while they have their share of setbacks and difficulties and struggles and everything else, there's something about their life that other people look at it and go, I wouldn't mind being that guy. I wouldn't mind living, if that's what a good life looks like, I wouldn't mind living like her. And when Jesus says blessed, that's what he means. It's an enviable life. The technical definition is being blessed means being approved and favored by God. That God approves of me. And that God not only approves of me, but he favors me. He chooses me. He picks me. He includes me. He does good for me. And that, by the way, if you don't know that, and you need to know, that is God's will for your life. He wants to bless you. So we're faced with these choices. How does this happen? And we said it's wanting the right wants. And so poor in spirit is ultimately the attitude that you have about yourself. And what it really comes down to is, who do you want to be in control? That's the right want that Jesus is getting at. Who's in control? When it comes to your life and how you live and what you do and all the things around you, who's in control? The person that's poor in spirit simply says that by myself, just me, by myself, I can achieve nothing of spiritual significance. I can't do it. I cannot make myself happy. I cannot create joy on my own. I cannot have this life that you're talking about being recovered by myself. I can't get it. I can't have it. I'm not the kind of leader that it's going to take to get me to that place. I need to depend on God. And this is in direct contrast. This is in direct contrast to what we see so often. And what I know I've felt at times in my life, and maybe you have too. But that point in life where a lot of times we're confronted with this, who's in control. And here's the pushback for a lot of us. And I get it, because I've had the same attitude. Well, I'm doing all right. Come on. You know, I'm not perfect, right? But I'm doing okay. I mean, when it comes to God, when it comes to Jesus, they're good ideas. And if it's important to you, I'm all for it. I think that's great. But honestly, I'm doing okay. And it comes to being religious and trying to follow that and morality and the Bible and all that other stuff. I mean, you know, are you Catholic or Protestant or Baptist? Well, I'm none. I don't need any of those things because I'm doing pretty good. And normally when you're in that mode, or maybe you're in that mode this morning, the mindset is, look, I'm educated. I've got a pretty good job. You know, my family seems to be doing well. We're okay. I've done a pretty decent job steering the ship. And what we really mean deep down is, I've got money in the bank, I got a trophy wife at home, and their job, they're not gonna fire me, they're gonna promote me. I'm okay. I'm doing well. And we look at those exterior markers of success. And we say, because I have this stuff, I must be doing a pretty good job, right? Of being in control. Here's the problem. If you wanna take credit for the exterior stuff, you also have to take credit for the interior stuff. See, because for a lot of us, we've lived our life thinking all the stuff outside of me, all the exterior stuff, that's up to me. All the things that bug me, cause me problems or emotional stress or difficulty or strain, that's somebody else's fault. That's somebody else's problem, but it's not true. Right? If you're in control, right? I mean, if you're really in charge, you're the one that's in charge. You got the job and bought the house, you also got the guilt and anxiety. Those came with it, right? I mean, and so many people that can point at all the exterior things, what they also have to accept credit for is the guilt, the anxiety, the insecurity, the below the surface unhappiness that they feel all the time and the stress in their life that comes from being in control. So you can't have one and not have the other. And while maybe you have done a good job in one area, there's a really good chance that the other area is not doing so well. And we feel that stress, and it kind of ends up being a weight on us. And for a lot of us, it starts messing with our emotions, and it kind of makes us either cranky, or it shuts us down, or it makes us angry towards other people, and we strike out a lot, or we get even worse, maybe even worse than all of those things. We get to the point where everything is just a shoulder shrug. Yeah, whatever. She wants a divorce. I don't know, whatever. You know, he won't come home at Christmas. That's his problem. And we all of a sudden become this Teflon person that just nothing else matters anymore. And it's a warning sign on the dash light of your life car that's saying something is off. You're in control, but you're not in control. See, do you know what stress is? It's interesting. We throw the word stress around all the time. Stress is not being busy. Lots of people are busy. And as a matter of fact, if you're busy with something you love, that doesn't feel stressful, right? If you love to go water skiing and somebody says, hey, let's come back out tomorrow and go water skiing. Nobody feels stressed about that. Yeah, let's do that. That didn't cause me stress. More of what I love, that's not stressful. Stress comes when we're trying to do something that either we can't do or we don't know how to do. That's when we start to feel stress. You're putting expectations on me that I can't meet, or I know I can't do that. I can see what I'm supposed to do, but I can't do it, or I don't know how to do it. Now all of a sudden I start to feel stressed. That stress starts weighing me down, and I start bumping into things. I bump into things physically. I bump into things emotionally. I bump into things in my relationships because the stress that's really working on the inside is working its way out, and I'm in control, but I'm not really in control. And Jesus comes along and he says, listen, I see that, and I understand that. Help is here. Let me help you with that. See, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to be in control of something that you can't be in control of. You're trying to do something you were never designed to do. And not only can I help you with that, not only can I make a difference when it comes to who's in control of your life, I can relieve the stress of you trying to do what you can't. And all of a sudden, this poor in spirit starts to make a little more sense. I mean, if poor in spirit means admitting that I can't be in control and that God needs to be in control, that relieves some of the weight. And if I actually put it into practice, all of a sudden I stop running into so many walls. I quit crashing into stuff. The stress is gone. And while I'm not always 100% comfortable because I don't know exactly everything God's going to do or why he's doing what he's doing, there's still a peace because he's got it. He's doing what he can do, and so he's not stressed about it. And I'm doing what I should do, and I'm not stressed about it. And I know it's hokey, but ultimately this choice comes down to, do you want to be stressed or do you want to be blessed? Jesus is saying, I'm asking you, I'm telling you, God wants to bless you. If you'll want the right thing, if you'll choose the right thing, he will bless you. He's not withholding from you. He's got stuff for you. And it starts with being poor in spirit. Now, a lot of times, we hear this idea, poor in spirit, and again, we still don't know exactly what that means. Does that mean I have to kind of take on this weenie personality and just kind of be a wallflower, and I can't do anything or say anything, and I just have to, I don't know, whatever happens here, kind of be an Eeyore? Is that what it means? No, it doesn't mean anything like that at all. It means admitting something we already know. God's better at being in control than I am. It's pretty straightforward to choose blessing and embrace my need for God. But most of us, and most of you, are probably just like me. My default is to choose to be rich in spirit, for lack of a better word. To choose to try to handle it myself. To choose to believe in me. To choose to say, you know what? I've got the determination, I've got the brains, I got the talent, I got the skill, I got the just willingness to work hard. I'm going to push through. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it work. I can do it. Be rich in spirit. Now, not all of that is bad. Don't get me wrong. Trying a new challenge, stretching yourself, doing something new. There's nothing wrong with those things. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when push comes to shove, what at the core, at the bottom, what am I relying on? Am I relying on me, or am I relying on God? And I think the thing that's helped me the most is there's about 3 kind of realizations that I've had to come to And I go back and forth on these, so I don't want you to get the impression that I got this figured out and I do this right every time. But these three realizations have really helped clarify what it looks like to live poor in spirit for me, to get poor instead of continuing to default over to rich. And the first one I share with you, you're going to go, well, yeah, I know that. Yeah, that makes sense. That one I'm good with. The second one, you're going to kind of, and the third one, some of you are really going to want to push back on and say, no, I don't think that's true. But just hear me out, okay? So the first one is having more doesn't bring more. Having more stuff, having more money, having more opportunities, having more whatever doesn't bring more life. And we know that, right? We know that because if that wasn't true, then rich people would always be happy and poor people would always be miserable. And that's not the case. We know many, many examples of just the opposite of that. So it's not about the having. And so, like I said, we know this, that blessings don't come from what you own. They don't come from the money that you have. And it's not that it's bad to enjoy things, but Jesus is the one who gives us the gifts that actually make us happy. They give us joy and make us feel blessed. And so it's not about the quantity. It's about the quality. And we know that. So like I said, the first one, pretty easy. And we get off track sometimes, right? We think, if I could just get this car, if I could just get this house, if I could just get that job, my life would be so much better. Everything would be great. And it doesn't mean it's not an improvement. Again, I don't want to take that away. I'm just simply saying, we know at the very base of it, at the very core of it, having more is not going to give us somehow magically a better life. It just gives us more stuff. Second one, believing in me keeps me from being free. And this is where the pushback starts. Because our society continually tells us, no, believe in yourself, chase your dreams, you can do it. It's all about you. I mean, hashtag, you're great, whatever it is. I mean, everything about society tells us, it's you, man. You do you be you chase you go after whatever you want, and don't worry about everybody else. It's you. And Jesus says it's not. And we kind of go, wait a minute, is Jesus right or is everybody else right? And that's the choice we have to make. Is Jesus right? Or is everybody else right? But it really is that same idea. I'm not in control. God is. I'll ask you a question. Have you ever been to maybe like a carnival or the state fair, and they have this game called WhackaMole? Right? Have you seen this? You get the little, I call it a hammer. It's just like padded or whatever. You get this little hammer, and these moles keep popping up in the little holes, and you're supposed to knock them down, right? Yeah, there, yeah, just like that. And the way it goes is at the beginning, it's pretty easy, isn't it? You kind of, bang, 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 no big deal. You kind of knock those down. That's pretty fun. But it starts going faster. And multiple ones start popping up. And you see, when you believe in me, you're playing whack-a-mole with your life. Because, yeah, when you're doing okay and a little financial issue pops up, you bop, bang that. And then a little relationship thing pops up, pop, you get that. And family, and pop, you get that. And before you know it, it's family, job, relationship, health, money, family, job, relationship, kids, money, kids, money, kids, money, kids, money. And you're just banging on that thing and you can't get them all. It's out of control. And when we believe in me, we become a prisoner to our own inability. Because we can't do it, even though we want to convince ourselves we can. Believing in me is actually signing up to be in prison when we believe in me. And then this third one. This third one's tough. That when I look, I'll be shook. When I look, I'll be shook. When I stop for just a minute, and I know this is really hard to do, and almost nobody does this. But when I just stop for just a minute and put aside all the stuff, right? All the job stuff, all the family stuff, all the money stuff, all the health stuff, all the stuff, all the things that are going on, the things that everybody can see on the outside and the things that nobody can see on the inside, the things I'm trying to cover up, the things I don't want to remember, the things I want to pretend like never happened, the things that I'm scared about in the future. When I stop with all of that for just a moment and instead look at Jesus, it shakes me. It shakes me. Because then in him, I see this is what life is supposed to be. And he doesn't shame me, but I see how far short I fall. Oh, this is what it is. This is what it's about. This is what you intended for me. I'm over here playing games with stupid stuff, and you're over here trying to show me life. And it just shakes me, and I realize the answer's right in front of me. I could have all of this if I would be willing to just stop for a moment, look at him, and then realize, you know what? I can't be in control, but he can. And let him do it. Man, everything changes. Everything changes. And this is the reason I'm so passionate about this, is because this is true for every single person in this room. There's nobody in here that this doesn't apply to. If you are willing to look at Jesus, you can't help it. You come away feeling, oh my goodness, the mistakes I've made in the past, I can't do anything about that. The relationships I have right now and the way things are going that are out of control, that are wrong, I feel like I can, but I really can't. I try and nothing works and it doesn't help and I can't fix it. My future, I don't know what's coming. I don't know what's going to happen. And Jesus, like I said, he comes alongside. And he says, I can forgive your past. He says, I change people's hearts. I can work in relationships. The future, I already know what's going to happen. I already got it under control. I already fixed it. I already put everything in place. And I've got a place for you now and when you die, if you'll let me be in control. You see, it's for everybody. You may not know this, but we're starting a new ministry in our church pretty soon called Celebrate Recovery. We're starting it in September. And one of the reasons I'm so excited about this ministry is it's based on something we all have. It's based on our hurts, our habits, and our hang-ups. What are the things that are wrong in our life? And what's at the very foundation of this whole entire ministry, what fuels everything they do, whether you go to Celebrate Recovery because you got relationship stuff or depression stuff or anxiety stuff, substance abuse stuff, whatever kind of stuff you might have, at the very base of this ministry is this very simple truth. God's in control, not me. And God's the only one that can heal me. And God's the one that can give me life. And again, it's true for all of us. Whether you're going to be involved in Celebrate Recovery or not, it's true for all of us. He's the only one that can do that. And so when you get to that point, when you finally come to that realization and you say, you know what, if this is what this whole poor in spirit things mean, when I look at my life and I look at Jesus and I think about the situation, I realize, yeah, that does seem like a better life. That does seem like a life that God would bless, a life that I would want. And you're so very, very close at this point. Because if you're not yet a follower of Jesus, you're right on the edge. And it's very, very simple. It couldn't be easier. You simply say a prayer and you're like, well, I don't know how to pray. I don't pray. God's not grading your prayers on a curve or anything like that. If you will just speak in your heart with sincerity and authenticity and simply say, Jesus, I need you to cover up the mistakes I've made. And I want you to be in control going from today on. That's what I want. That's what it means to become a follower of Jesus. And he does so much and he brings so much blessing as a result of that. Everything changes. That's why I said, if you look, you'll be shook. And so, that's the better version of you. That's the beginning place of recovering life. And I know that it's a hard step. I really do. I understand that. Because I know for some of us, admitting the fact that I'm not in control and that I'm not doing a great job of being in control is super, super humbling. But let me ask you this question. If you were to get somebody close to you, somebody you love, family member, friend, maybe it's a coworker you're really tight with, whatever it might be, and you pull them aside and says, I got something I need to share with you. It's really important. Oh, okay, yeah. What's going on? I just wanted to let you know that I don't have it as all together as I would like everybody to think I do. That sometimes there's parts of my life that I just don't have under control. And you know what they would say? Duh. I know. I see it all the time. I live with you. I live around you. I work with you. Of course you don't. You're admitting something everybody knows. God knows. And you know it too. And maybe today is the day to do something about it. We did baptisms this service for people that said yes to Jesus. I want him to be in control of my life. And maybe God's speaking to your heart this morning. You say, that's what I need. That's what I want to do. And I want people to know that I'm going to follow Jesus. Well, then maybe you just need to come to our next service. It starts in about half an hour or so. And let people know, hey, this is the life that I'm choosing. I want God to be in control, not me. Maybe that's a step that you need to take today. Let's pray together.